Okay, so we will now have a presentation from Guatam Sinha of DGH, and he's going to tell you about the business side of what is going on in India.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. And it's a rainy day now. Morning we came, the weather was slightly cloudy, not it's raining. But it's a great day for us, particularly for the Directorate General Hydrocarbon, Minister of Petroleum, and all the companies in India. As Dr. Krishnamurthy told, it's a dream come true. We are trying for this ANP data room for last maybe more than a year, and we signed the MOU in February on the sideline of Indian Energy Week in Bangalore, and now we are in July. And probably the kind of presentation made was very impressive in the morning. I think we have a detailed presentation after this. I will not take much time, but since we have come here to Houston for two purposes. One was, of course, today's inauguration of data room and symposium. Yesterday, we hold a bidding conference for the pre-bid conference for our ongoing exploration bidding rounds, which was basically an offshore bidding round. And we discussed with the investors about different policies, the initiatives, and the number of blocks on offer, and the prosperity of the blocks. Of course, today is a follow-up of that meeting, and we'll continue dialogue with companies based in US over the next few months. And many of them are showing actual interest in India. A lot of people have visited DGH, National Data Repository, and they have purchased the data, they have processed the data, and they are actually working on the final investment decision in India based on the other aspects like the legal aspect, the policy aspect, fiscal incentives. The dialogues are on with the international oil majors, and we are very hopeful that with the help of University of Houston and our joint effort, some of the international company will definitely come to India, maybe this year or next round, and invest in exploration and make some discovery. Because India wants a discovery like Guyana, because we are importing 89%, 86% of oil and 50% of gas, totally import dependent, and huge areas are available. So I start with my presentation that what are the initiatives taken by the government of India in the upstream sector of oil and gas industry. And over the last 1 or 2 years, a remarkable decision has been taken in terms of attracting the bidders, in the policy changes, in the ease of doing business. And we are actually promoting all those things globally. And we are traveling all across the globe, speaking to the investors, telling that India has now become a very good investment destination, and you come and investment India. So this is a familiar slide, and some of the slides, of course, some of the people who are here yesterday have seen this slide, but those who are not here, not there today, yesterday, to see the remarkable, economic condition of India. So we are aiming to be third largest by 2030. We are on the fifth largest economy. Of course, the per capita energy consumption is quite low compared to the global average. But if you see our young population between 13 years to 35 years is 40% of the total population. So more than 1 billion population, almost 40% is a very low age group, and they have high aspirations in life to lead a good life. And the key to lead a good life is the supply of energy, assured supply of energy, affordable supply of energy. So we are really struggling to meet the demand in terms of the requirement of the population, in terms of the transportation, in terms of the industry. On the right side is a very important graph, if you see the CAGR, compound annual growth rate of India, it is predicted by British BP and IEA and other agencies. They are telling that over next 28 years or 30 years, the growth in Indian energy demand will be at the CAGR of 1.9%, whereas globally, it is not that, because people are really moving towards the other forms of energy. So India is rapidly increasing the demand from 274 MMPOE to 467 is the prediction. Probably the prediction will keep on changing when the more demand comes. So if you produce any oil and gas in India and any form of hydrocarbon, so every molecule gets sold within no time. You do not bother about the selling of any product, and you have a very good refining hub where you can refine for the petroleum products. So as I told, we have the almost 250 million ton of refining capacity as of now, 23 refineries. And we are going to increase almost twofold, almost 450 million ton by 2030. A lot of refineries are under expansion and a lot of new refineries are construction. And we are, I think, second largest exporter of petroleum products in the world as of now. We are importing a lot of crude, refining and selling gasoline, diesel, petrol, aviation fuel, and others. Apart from meeting the local demand, we are exporting to other countries. Third largest oil consumer, and last year it was 220 million ton, and our domestic production is hardly 30 million ton. So we are producing 30 million ton, but we are consuming almost 207 times, almost 220 million ton. That is our import dependence is gradually increasing. And if you see oil consumption by 2045, it is going to increase double, it will become double. So oil and gas will remain the major source of energy apart from coal in India. Although we are looking for the energy transitions and other things, as of now, oil and gas will remain the major source of energy in India. We have to import oil from many places like LNG, we are importing from US, Qatar, Australia. Oil we are importing from Russia and Gulf, mainly from Gulf and Russia. But I know we need to increase our domestic production at any cost. Otherwise, your dependency will be very high and our foreign exchange outgo is substantially high for the import of oil and gas. Fourth largest LNG importer, as of now, 30 million ton LNG we are importing because it really helps to meet our 50% of the gas demand. So half of them we are producing, half of them we are importing. But the LNG import will become 4 times by 2040. So that is why we are having a lot of regasification terminal all across East Coast, West Coast to import the LNG and also putting up the pipeline to take this regasified gas to the consumer. So energy mix, as you know, predominantly as of now, coal, oil and gas. But if you see the graph, by 2050, our gas component energy mix is going to increase. Currently, we are 6%. We are planning to go to 20% by 15% by 2030 and 20% by 2030. And renewable, if you see the renewables, the top one, it is substantially increasing. So we are working on the solar, we are working on the offshore wind, and we are working on hydel and other things. So that is parallelly going on, and we are the fourth largest producer of renewable energy as of now in the world, and will be become third or second maybe in next 10 years time. So our Prime Minister has given a target to become energy independent by 2047. Why 2047? We got independence in 1947. So he told that you got independence in 1947, and after 100 years, you need to have energy independence. You cannot depend on energy so much from the outside world. You have to produce your own energy. So there's a strict target given because 85% import, and within next 20 years, or maybe less than 20 years, 24 years, we have to be zero import dependence. So 100% production has to be achieved. Not only oil and gas, maybe renewable, biofuel, solar, other things, energy transition. The total component will be 100% in terms of energy independence. So primary thrust is on increasing domestic oil and gas production. That is why we are really promoting our acreages, promoting our, the prosperity of the basin. And in this direction, we have a made collaboration of University of Houston, and we look forward to working with UH over, it's a 5-year MOU entered between DGH and UH, and we continue to work on this. Switching towards a gas-based economy because, the environmental pollution has to be reduced. So our power plant mainly working on the coal, but currently we are switching many of the power plant to gas-based power plant to reduce the emission and pollution, and reducing increasing efficiency in sector in terms of oil conservation, including refining efficiency and other things. That is also a target and achieving good success in that. Then alternative fuels avenue like coal seam gas, shale gas, renewables and others. So these are basically 4-pronged strategy set up by the government of India. And at the top you can see that energy should be secured, affordable and accessible because we have a large population which need to access the energy. Energy cannot be for the elite people. Energy should reach each household of the country. being a poor, maybe a middle class, maybe upper class. So that is the motto of the government, that you should supply energy at affordable price. And that is a big challenge, because you have to reduce the cost of production and you need to have a bigger discovery to make the energy affordable. As I told, 85% of oil, rather 86% now, and 50% of gas is being imported. And the hydrocarbon imports accounted 1/4 of the total imports in dollar terms. So whatever total imports in India making, oil and gas import was 1/4 of the huge amount of oil and gas import. And because of the global oil price rise and gas price rise, the import bill is actually jumping over the days. So we have a two-pronged strategy: boosting domestic production and demand substitution. By demand substitution, we are meaning that we are actually aggressively promoting biofuel. We have planning to blend 20% of ethanol in the gasoline, and we have achieved almost 10%, 11%, and we hope to achieve 20%. And we have a lot of feedstocks available, the raw material is the waste products and in the agricultural waste. So we are converting them to ethanol, and we are blending ethanol in the gasoline. So that's somewhere actually reducing our import bill. If you can really blend 20% of ethanol in the petrol or diesel petrol, then definitely your import will reduce. So we are looking into the other avenues apart from oil and gas. As I told, if you see that if you import LNG, you need to have regasification terminals. So East Coast, West Coast, everywhere the terminals are coming up. And also parallelly, we are increasing the gas transportation pipeline network all across India, because it has reached to every household, every village, every city. And we have a big network of city gas distribution for the piped natural gas to the household, as well as compressed gas for the transportation. So regasification capacity 42 million ton to 62 million ton increase at 10 terminals. Currently we have 6 terminals of regas. We are going to 10 terminals. And then pipeline, currently we have 20,000 line kilometer of pipeline. It will be 30,000, 36,000 kilometer of pipeline. And we are putting pipeline all across India, right from east, west, north, and south, to transport the gas. And you see that from 6% to 15% is our target to increase the gas component. That is why we are actually increasing the infrastructure for transportation of gas. Again, the city gas distribution, almost 95% coverage in India. The city gas network is being laid, provided many places. And city gas has been very useful to replace the cooking fuel. Many people are using coal earlier, many people are using LPG. Now when the gas reaches to them, everybody will be using the piped natural gas for cooking. And also our transportation fleet. Many cities are actually running on the CNG, compressed natural gas. For example, in capital Delhi, all public transports are running on compressed natural gas. We are not using diesel or petrol running the cars, and even the people purchasing the car, they are looking for the CNG based vehicle. That is reduces pollution, and also the demand for petrol and diesel. If you really use the gas instead of petrol and diesel. Talking about the transition, we have actually set a net zero target of 2070. So you can see that apart from coal and oil, we have immediately are going for the transition as a gas, because 15% by 2030, another next 7 years time. So immediate transition will be into gas. Future energy, we are parallelly working on biofuel, renewables, and hydrogen, as I told you. And we are aggressively working. We have a hydrogen mission set up by the government of India. And yesterday we visited a plant by Linde here. We saw the hydrogen production. And we are also planning in Indian refineries to produce hydrogen. So talking about the exploration, basically our focus is main on exploration, because our the major producing field like Bombay High and Assam and western part of India, all were discovered 40, 30 years or 40 years back. So they are continuously producing, but they have a decline, natural decline. And the national oil companies are holding almost 70% of India's production, ONGC and Oil India. So they are struggling to maintain the production, because all are mature field. They are doing a lot of well intervention, doing enhanced oil recovery, but there's an incremental production is very less. That is why we need to explore more, particularly offshore. Because you need a big discovery, then it will be matured into production. We cannot depend on the matured field, only on the matured field for the domestic production. And the large areas are available. So you can say 5-pronged strategy for exploration, data acquisition very, very important part. So government of India is actually spending almost $1 billion. They already spent $500 million, can you spend another $500 million? Data acquisition is being mainly funded by the government. Government is telling that, okay, if I really want to promote my acreages, and if there is no data somewhere, I don't depend on the operator when they will acquire the data. So I spend money, acquire the data, and put it in the national data repository, and the bidders can see the data and bid for the block. So data acquisition, government is aggressively doing. We have recently acquired almost 100,000 line kilometer of 2D seismic all across offshore up to the exclusive economic zone EZ. And the data is being processed and interpreted. All will be available by end of this year to the national data repository. We are also acquiring data in onshore. We call it National Seismic Program, where and through National Seismic Program is a physical acquisition. Sometimes where we cannot access the places in the hilly part, we are acquiring the airborne survey, gravity survey. So all over India, we are covering the data both in onshore and offshore and making it available to the bidders to see the prospectivity of the block. Data policy are changing. Now we have a national data repository where you have to purchase the data. Although the nominal cost is very, very low compared to the other part of the world where data price is very low, but we have made the data available to the university and institute free of cost. Anybody wants for the research purpose, they can get it free of cost. And also the data export. Earlier, there was a lot of restriction of exporting raw data. Now, there is no bar. You just apply for the raw data, and within 7 days, the data reaches to your doorstep. So we call it a data at doorstep, and there is no restriction of exporting raw data. So a lot of companies, including ExxonMobil and others, they have purchased a lot of raw data, and they are processing in-house on the raw data. And some of the companies, of course, have purchased the processed data. They are interpreting and do the reprocessing. So data availability is not a problem now. You just give a requisition to DGH and we'll immediately send the data to you. And policy we are further revamping to make it more user-friendly and accessible. Then Encourage Award, for which we have come here, the bidding rounds is going on, and we have an expression of interest. You can put throughout the year. We have 4 months block for EOI cycle, and you can carve out your own block. That is the biggest thing, that under open acreage licensing policy, government does not carve out any block. You can carve out any block, any part of offshore, onshore, and submit an expression of interest throughout the year. And then we club those EOIs into a bidding round. For example, currently EOI window is open 31st July, and next window again will open from 1st August to next 4 months. And we club in OLP 9 and OLP 10. So this is a continuous dynamic process for Encourage Award. Regulatory reforms, a lot of policy initiatives have taken. And of course, the investor outreach, global outreach to the investor. One step is, of course, the investor of Houston data room, that people need not go travel to India. They can see the data here, access the data here. So if you see, till now, Mumbai offshore is the western part of India. So this is the Mumbai offshore part. So western part of India still is the major source of oil and gas. Mumbai High, discovered in 1970s, operated by National Oil Company, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited, and also the eastern part of India where Oil India Limited is producing. So they contribute almost 70%, and out of that, almost 2/3, almost all the oil and gas comes from western part of offshore. Oil India production is not that high, but mainly production is from ONGC. Of course, recently the eastern part of India, KG Basin, Krishna Godavari, there are good discoveries by British Petroleum and Reliance, and they are producing a lot of gas in the east coast part of India. So basically, our production is dependent on offshore as of now, mainly, both for oil and gas, major. And our estimates, of course, is an estimate done in 2017. A deepwater area, almost 9 billion ton of oil equivalent is still there, but deepwater is largely unexplored. Deepwater, there is a lot of wells to be drilled, a lot of areas to be tapped. That is why we are promoting a lot of acreages in deepwater. So half of exclusive economic zone appraised, but we need to appraise the remaining half. Then we have already awarded a lot of area under acreages, 7 rounds of open account licensing policy. But of course, mainly the bidders are national oil companies and some of the private companies in India. And they are doing their job, but we need a global player who have more expertise in working in analogous basin. And they have an expertise, make a big discovery. And the discovery is made by the domestic companies are smaller in size. They are mainly working in the known area, which call an infrastructure-led exploration, where they have a facility, they are exploring nearby so that they can really monetize. They are not venturing into the ultra deep water or deep water or frontier area or a wildcat well, but that is required because many areas are available. Like Andaman was shown in the morning. We need to drill more wells in Andaman because we have not really explored Andaman. Of course, there are issues of restrictions, and now all the restrictions are gone. So this is a map. So you see the left side, a lot of hatches, red hatches, west part of India, east part of India, Andaman. So these are actually we call so-called no-go area. No-go area means here actually the defense agencies did not allow foreign exploration. For a long period of time, the red hatch area on offshore, western, eastern, and Andaman. The various defense agencies were the exercise area, the submarine area, missile launch area, and satellite launch area. So these are actually no-go area. So these are the very prolific areas, but were not allowed to do exploration because it was under control of defense. So after a lot of persuasion by the government, now if you see the right side map, almost all the 99% of the hatches have gone. What does it mean? That the entire offshore is now available for exploration, which were not earlier available because of the restrictions. So almost 1 million per kilometer area has been made available in the offshore now, and all restrictions have been removed with the defense agencies, including Andaman. And we have developed a very good protocol with all the agencies for allowing the ENP operation. And we have a very good dedicated control room to see work with the defense agencies. That recent example is that we have acquired 100,000 line kilometer of data in all across the offshore. Earlier it was not possible because there are a lot of restrictions. Now defense agencies have given us a permission. You can acquire data, you can drill the well, you can produce. So there is no restriction. Only we have to work with them with some warnings. When they issue the warning, we alert the operators. And after the warning is removed, the operator again starts working. There are the 4 vessels recently acquired 100,000 line kilometers. So you can see 3 vessels owned by Shearwater. They have acquired almost 80,000 line kilometer, East Coast, West Coast, and one was the Eagle Explorer by Seabird, a Russian company. Very good quality data, all data, raw data available at DGH now. And we have awarded the contract for processing and interpretation to Shearwater. So they are processing and interpreting the data, and within 3 to 4 months' time, all the data will be uploaded in India and available to the bidders. As I'm talking about 100,000 line kilometer data acquired recently over 3-4 months' time, 6 months' time, East Coast, West Coast, Andaman, and data will be soon available to the bidders to NDR. And this is a good quality data. So why you should come to India? The question is why should come to India? Now India, the ease of doing business has improved considerably. Most of our systems and approval process now online. You submit a field development plan online, and we have set timeline for ourselves. So if the development plan is not approved within 30 days by the government, it is deemed approved. So the ball is in the government court that when any operator submits a development plan online, the 0 days start from that date. And operator will for 30 days, and if it is not approved by the government, it is assumed approved. So there is no lag of submitting of data within 15 days, 20 days, we are approving the FDP. Maximum 30 days, so that they start working. Our all clearances like expert clearances, vessel clearances, all the type of clearances are online. You did not come to DGH on any hard copy, just submit online requisition. Sometimes our deep water development, hundreds of vessels come together. Maybe 5,000 experts are working in India. So all the clearances are actually online within 2-3 days time. And so operator does not wait for any expert to come, any equipment to come, or any vessel to come. So that has really increased the efficiency of development. And the British Petroleum and Reliance has developed their deep water field in record time. During the COVID time also, they're allowed to hire the charter flight with the expert, and he got all the clearances in the airports of India so that they can use expert hiring the charter flight during the COVID period. So there was no restriction. Work was uninterrupted in offshore. Globally recognized dispute mechanism, resolution mechanism, we have very let down arbitration procedure, court cases, and we are again going to revamp that. There is a lot of demand that the seat of arbitration should be a neutral venue, not in Delhi. So we are also working on it and probably will agree on that, that wherever the operator wants the dispute to be taken, either Singapore, Malaysia, Perth or UK or US, we are ready for that. Earlier it was in New Delhi. Stable policy framework, there is a very stable policy framework, and we have ability of service provider. So in India, ONGC and all the biggest companies were having the services. And we have all sort of service providers, including Samaja, Halliburton, Baker, which is all have set up bases in India. And we have a lot of deep water developments taking place, a lot of FPSOs have come. So there is no dearth of any services. If you really make a discovery, all type of services are available in India. You need not wait for any services to come. So as I told that in OLP, there is a freedom to carve out blocks, submit the why. We are encouraging the play-based exploration because a lot of plays are yet to be really, some of them are discovered but really produced, some of them are yet to be discovered. So a lot of plays are there which are really to be explored. Shared responsibility, if you have any clearance, for example, if you get a block in offshore, we on the same day you sign the contract, we really give the letter of clearance on the day. That means we approve the petroleum exploration license on the day you sign the contract. You need not worry about getting clearance. So the government will take care of all the clearances. You just start working. And then of course the opportunity to partner with existing players. We have national oil companies. ONGC, they have entered a lot of MOU with Exxon, Chevron, Total, ENI, Equinor. And Oil India is also working with Total and ENI. So a lot of opportunities. British Petroleum is already in India. They are producing a lot of gas and condensate. And we look forward that other companies should come. Either they bid on their own or they form a joint venture with the national oil company or the private companies. And 100% foreign direct investment is allowed in upstream sector. There is no bar in investing 100% foreign investment. So we have set a target that 1 million square kilometer of area to be awarded by 2030. We have already awarded almost 2.5 million square kilometers. So next 2 years time, we plan to award another 2.5 million square kilometer, 0.5 million square kilometer. So we take to the 1 million square kilometer by 2030, the steep target, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to achieve this target before 2030, maybe somewhere around 27, 28. This is the current active area, is almost only 10% of the total basinal area. We have almost 3.4 million square kilometer of basinal area, offshore and onshore, and only 335,000 area is under active area exploration. So almost 90% remains unexplored. That is a very challenging that to bring the player and explore almost remaining 90%. So we cannot say that India is not prospective because giant discoveries have been made in India. Like Bombay High was a giant discovery. Like Barmer Basin in Rajasthan desert, Operator Vedanta is a giant discovery. Like discoveries made by Reliance and British Petroleum is a giant discovery. So discoveries have been made, giant discoveries have been made in India, and there are possibilities of making more discoveries, but you need to drill more wells and more surveys, and probably you require a global expertise to make a discovery. So this is a statistics, almost 200,000 we have awarded under open acreage licensing policy under 7 rounds, 134 blocks awarded. Committed investment is almost $3.5 billion. 500 wells to be drilled, and many of them are offshore. Over next 2 years' time, India is going to drill 500 wells, and maybe around 60% in offshore and deep water. Lot of surveys are to be taken, 35,000 line kilometer 2D, 39 3D. That is why we're requiring the service companies, the drilling rigs, and the survey vessels. A lot of requirements will be coming up in India. A lot of service companies are meeting us and supplying the equipment, and people are looking to India for providing good services in oil and gas sector. This is a national data repository I talked about in the morning, and a lot of data are available. You see the 3.3 million 2D, 1.1 million 3D, seismic reports, and these are accessible online. You just register and online see the data. And we are upgrading it to very soon to the cloud. We are in the process of upgrading to cloud, and maybe within 6 months' time, we'll be migrating to cloud. So data will be downloaded from anywhere across the globe. Just a glimpse of slide. A MOU was signed at University of Houston during Indian Energy Week on 7th February. And today, of course, is 7th July. So it really coincides with that date. So, and then we signed an agreement on 1st June. And then today we are here, Symposium and launch of data center. And it is really our pleasure to have University of Houston as our partner in promoting our acreages. And I am sure that with their help, we'll be able to really break ice and some of the foreign companies should come to India. Just few changes in the revenue sharing contract, more of a contractual terms. Just a glimpse that while interacting with the global players, we got a lot of feedback that you need to change our revenue sharing contract. We are in model revenue sharing contract. So if you see number A bullet, large acreages, earlier the restriction was you cannot carve out a block more than 10,000 square kilometer in deep water. Now we have doubled it. So you can really carve out a block of area of 20,000 square kilometer in deep water. So many of the players are telling that we require a bigger area to understand a regional study. Then you really relinquish a part of the area and do the drilling. And then very important feature is that in category 2 and 3, we have 3 types of basin. We call category 1 basin, we have 7 basins where there's a commercial discovery. Out of 26 basins, 7 are in category 1, 5 are in category 2 where discovery have been made but production is yet to start, and remaining 14 are in category 3 where there is no discovery. So category 2 and 3 is a large area. So you need not commit any well in the phase 1. You have to simply commit survey. And based on survey, you get the block. And if you really feel that you need to drill a well in deep water after the survey period of 4 years, you get additional 2 years for a deep water drilling a well. If you want to drill one more well, you get another 2 years. So we have given a lot of flexibility to the operator that if you really feel that after survey, there is no possibility to relinquish the block without any penalty. So this is based on really feedback from different operators globally. We have originator incentive. That means if you submit the first UI, you get additional 5 marks. Earlier there, I'm increased to 10 marks. Any person submitting the first UI will get 10 marks out of 100 marks, and even in 90 marks will be based on the wells on the seismic survey for category 2 and 3, and well and seismic survey for category 1. Other excusable delay, force major reason, retention period, a lot of data packages have been made free, network criteria has been removed a little bit, rationalization. So based on this feedback, we have made a lot of changes, and yesterday we showcased in detail all the changes to the companies. And we told them that if you require any further changes, we are open for any suggestion. We can make more changes if requirements are there. Longer stabilization, some more changes, early incentive if you produce early, so you have a lower royalty rate. And in category 2 and 3, government revenue share is 0. There is no revenue share. It only share little bit of royalty and no revenue share with the government. So India is one of the best fiscal incentive we are giving to attract the bidders in category 2 and 3. So this is the a lot of online platform I talked about. Some of them for environment clearance, some of them for the approval on self-certification. That means they have to submit only the online system and we approve it. And then everything is online now, nothing is physical. So it moves very fast. So talking about last 2 years, we are moving across the globe, meeting the people, getting the feedback. A lot of companies are showing now interest. We went to London, we came to Houston last September, went to IDPEC, went to Singapore, again coming back to Houston. Next time we are going to Calgary in September for the World Petroleum Congress, then going again to Abu Dhabi for the IDPEC, and then probably again coming back to Houston during the Sierra week. We have a full calendar for the next 2 years to promote our acreages, and we hope that we are getting a lot of good feedback, and even a lot of companies are purchasing data. So there is a positive sign. The people who are not earlier looking into India, now they have started looking into the Indian basins, seeing the opportunity there, the market there, the demand there, and we are hopeful that with the collaboration of University of Houston and other agencies, we'll be really able to attract some of the international global players. May not be in the 9th round, but maybe on 10th or 11th round. I think I close here. And if any question is there, I'll be happy to. Thank you.
The question.
Yeah.
Not, I will ask Ali David to come back up and talk to us in much more detail about the two basins. Let us start. Full of yours.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of questions.
Oh, great, perfect, yeah. Go ahead, yeah, please.
Thank you, Sunaji. Good presentation. I had two questions. One, and it's earlier related to David Hugh's presentation about the wells that were already drilled in Andaman. Can you just comment about when those were done and who did them? And,
I think Andaman, I think around 30 wells, you have data. 20. Andaman, what I'm telling a lot of blocks were awarded, including ENI. ENI was a block, ONGC was working, and gas discoveries have been made in Andaman. But the thing is that the volume was quite low. And unfortunately, the ENI, which actually had a good block in Andaman, they were not allowed to drill the well by the agency, space agency, because they are telling the satellite will launch from India, the debris may fall in that area. So ENI could not drill a well. So that was really a setback for India. And they actually better experience in India because they are not allowed to drill a well. But the amount of data they have acquired, 2D and 3D, ENI, these are excellent quality data. These are all available in NDR. So now Andaman is free, and currently we are offering 4 blocks, 4 areas in Andaman here. And Oil India is working on drilling of wells. And we are also planning a stratigraphic well in Andaman. Stratigraphic well means the well to be funded by the government. So we are planning 4 stratigraphic well in offshore, all costs to be borne by the government, one in Andaman, one in Mahanadi, one in Bengal, and one is western part Saurashtra. So government will spend about, each well costs almost $100 million, almost $400 million government will be spending. Those wells will be drilled by national oil company with a condition that they have to work with an international player to work together to decide the location. And in deciding the location, we'll take the help of University of Houston also, because they have good knowledge about the location. And shortly we'll announce this program, and probably we plan to drill 1 well in end of 23 or 24, because ONGC is already hiring rigs, deepwater rigs for that. We are very optimistic. If you drill this 4 stratigraphic well, the well will be quite deeper, almost 4,000, 5,000 meters. A lot of data will be available in terms of taking cores, well logs, and discovery may happen also, don't know. So we are very hopeful that these wells are required, and government is really looking. Andaman area is a very target area, Mahanadi and Bengal, of course, because now there is no-go. No-go is almost gone. So you are right that currently well density in Andaman is quite low, but we are hopeful with the award of the block, maybe 2-3 years time, Andaman will have a good number of wells. Thank you. Any other question?
one more question. So the collaboration MOU with the UH is excellent.
Yeah.
The question available to Houston. In your slide, you mentioned part of the highlights is workshops and symposiums. What is the, I guess, objective or mission for those?
Symposium. Yeah, I think, what we have seen that any international company has 2 different teams. One is technical team. So technical team comes to DGH for seeing the technical data. They have a separate legal and commercial team. So we are engaging in both the terms. So whenever any company comes to DGH, what we are doing, we are giving the detailed presentation. We are making our data free of cost, being any data. They can sit together in DGH for 3-4 days. We make them available the workstations, and many IOCs are coming regularly to see the data. And when they go back, they purchase the data set, they select the data to purchase. And we are making our technical presentations from DGH side. But here the University of Houston, they have a regular symposium with the investors, and they will also publish a lot of papers, and they will also really showcase this, there's a lot of conference or seminar. I think in August, some symposium is coming here, some seminars are coming. Houston is a place where throughout the year you have certain conference or seminar. So our team will also come along with them, they will make the presentation. So investor outreach will be much easier if you have a setup like this. Otherwise, we have to take time from the companies, go there and meet. So symposium will continue and technical discussion will continue. And 100,000 land kilometer of data will be available by December. So that data will also be handed over to University of Houston, and they will also see the data And we're hopeful that there's a good quality data, people will really look forward to this data. Thank you. I think, is there any other question? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.